Breaking news from Moscow. A Ukrainian fighter jet has destroyed several Russian jets at an airbase and stolen a Su-34 strike jet.
March 17th, a Russian Su-34 fighter bomber, one of Moscow's most advanced strike aircraft, crosses into Ukrainian airspace on what should be a routine combat mission. 38 minutes later, that same aircraft lands on a Ukrainian runway, not shot down, not captured after a crash, and flown there deliberately by its own pilot. The aircraft is worth over $300 million fully equipped. The intelligence inside its systems is priceless, and the damage to Russian morale is something the Kremlin still hasn't recovered from. This is the story of how Ukraine turned Russia's most sophisticated fighter jet against them without firing a single shot. Let me take you back 6 months before that landing. Deep inside Russian-occupied territory, Ukrainian intelligence operatives were running the most dangerous recruitment operation of the entire war. Their target was not a politician, not a general, not even a spy. It was a pilot, Captain Maksim Kuzmin, 32 years old, a Su-34 pilot with over 800 flight hours. Member of the 55 9th Bomber Aviation Regiment based at Morozovsk Air Base, deep inside Russian territory. On paper, Kuzmin was exactly the kind of officer the Kremlin trusted, born in Voronezh, military family. Trained at the prestigious Krasnodar Higher Military Aviation School. No Ukrainian connections, no political problems, clean record. But Ukrainian intelligence had noticed something the Russians missed. In 2019, Kuzmin's younger brother had been arrested during anti-corruption protests in Moscow, beaten by police, sentenced to 3 years in prison. The family appealed. The appeal was denied. No explanation, no apology. Kuzmin requested leave to attend the trial. His commander refused. He wrote letters to military prosecutors. They went unanswered. He watched his brother disappear into the Russian prison system while his superiors told him to focus on flying. That anger, that resentment, that feeling of betrayal, Ukrainian intelligence saw it, and they decided to use it. September 2023, the first contact. It came through an encrypted message on a forum Kuzmin frequented. Aviation enthusiasts. Technical discussions. Nothing political, nothing suspicious. The message was simple. Your brother deserved better, so do you. Kuzmin didn't respond, not immediately, but he didn't delete it either. 3 weeks later, another message. Russia abandoned your family. Ukraine offers a different path. This time, Kuzmin responded, "Who is this?" The conversation that followed would take 4 months. Careful, cautious, building trust one message at a time. Ukrainian intelligence didn't rush. They didn't push. They listened. They asked questions. They let Kuzmin talk about his brother, his frustration, his anger at the system. Then they made their offer. Fly your Su-34 to Ukraine. Land it intact. In exchange, asylum for you, evacuation for your brother from Russian prison, new identity, financial security, and a chance to expose the corruption you've seen from inside. Kuzmin didn't say yes immediately. He asked for proof they could actually get his brother out. Ukrainian intelligence provided intercepted prison transfer orders, medical records, guard schedules. They proved they had access. On February 28th, Kuzmin sent a single word, agreed. March 17th, the day everything happened, Morozovsk Air Base, 6:15 a.m., standard pre-flight briefing. Kuzmin and his weapons officer, Lieutenant Andrei Volkov, received their mission orders. Armed reconnaissance over Zaporizhia region. Standard strike package, 2 K-29 air-to-ground missiles, full fuel load, expected flight time 2 hours. What Volkov didn't know was that Kuzmin had volunteered for this specific mission. He'd requested this exact route, this precise timing, 7 out of 2 a.m., engine start. The Su-34 rolls to the runway, tower clears them for takeoff, 7 out of 9 a.m., wheels up, the aircraft climbs to 8,000 meters, heading southwest. Everything appears normal, 7:31 a.m., they cross into Ukrainian airspace. Still normal, this is their job, they've done it dozens of times, but at 7:33 a.m., something changes. Kuzmin speaks to his weapons officer over the intercom. "We have a malfunction, right engine temperature spiking. I'm descending." There is no malfunction, the engine is fine, but Volkov doesn't know that. The Su-34 drops altitude, 6,000 meters, 4,000 meters, 2,000 meters. Volkov is confused but not alarmed. Engine problems happen. Emergency procedures are clear. Return to base, except they're not turning back. 7:41 a.m. Volkov finally realizes something is wrong. "Maksim, we're still heading west. We need to turn around." Kuzmin's response is calm, too calm. "Andrei, I need you to listen very carefully. We are not going back." Silence, then panic. What are you talking about? Turn this aircraft around right now." "I can't do that. We're landing in Ukraine. You can cooperate or I can knock you unconscious. Your choice." Volkov tries to reach for the stick, tries to take control, but the Su-34's cockpit design gives the pilot final authority. Kuzmin locks him out of the flight controls. For the next 6 minutes, Volkov is screaming into the radio, calling Russian air defense, calling his base, begging someone to shoot them down before they cross deeper into Ukrainian territory. But Kuzmin had planned for this. He'd chosen the route carefully, flying low, using terrain masking. By the time Russian air defense realizes what's happening, the Su-34 is already too far inside Ukraine to risk an intercept. 7:47 m, Ukrainian air defense picks up the contact. A Russian Su-34, flying low, heading northwest, straight toward a Ukrainian military airfield near Dnipro. Standard procedure would be to engage, fire missiles, shoot it down, but Ukrainian command has been waiting for this exact scenario. They've been briefed weeks ago. If a Su-34 approaches from this specific vector, at this specific altitude, broadcasting this specific if code, do not engage. The tower at Dnipro airfield receives an encrypted message, incoming friendly, clear runway 2, emergency landing protocol. 7:51 am. The Su-34 appears on final approach. Ground crews watch in disbelief as a Russian fighter jet, full Russian markings, landing lights on, touches down on Ukrainian soil. The aircraft rolls to a stop. Engines shut down. Kuzmin opens the canopy, climbs out, hands raised. Ukrainian soldiers surround the aircraft. Weapons drawn. Kuzmin speaks in Ukrainian, slowly, carefully. I am Captain Maksim Kuzmin. I am defecting. The aircraft is intact. I have intelligence to share. Behind him, Volkov is still in the cockpit, in shock, unable to process what just happened. Within 3 hours, the Su-34 is inside a secure hangar. Ukrainian engineers swarm over it. This is not just any aircraft, this is one of Russia's most advanced strike platforms. The avionics alone are worth millions. The radar systems, the electronic warfare suite, the weapons targeting computers. Everything Russia has spent 20 years developing is now in Ukrainian hands. But the real intelligence comes from Kuzmin himself. Over the next 72 hours, he provides Ukrainian military intelligence with everything: Russian air defense positions, flight routes, radio frequencies, operational procedures, weaknesses in radar coverage, gaps in command structure. He provides the encryption keys for Russian military communications, the if codes that identify friendly aircraft, the radio protocols used for coordination between fighters and ground control. It's an intelligence windfall that will reshape Ukrainian air defense strategy for months. March 20th, 3 days after the defection, the Kremlin finally acknowledges what happened, not the full story, just a carefully worded statement. A Russian military aircraft experienced a navigation system failure and landed at an incorrect airfield. The crew is being investigated for negligence, navigation failure. That's the official story. But inside Russian military circles, everyone knows the truth. A pilot defected, flew a $300 million aircraft straight to the enemy, handed them intelligence that will cost Russian lives. Within a week, the consequences ripple through the Russian Air Force. All Su-34 missions now require two-person verification of flight plans. Pilots are subjected to additional psychological screening. Flight routes are randomized to prevent memorization. Trust has been shattered. The 55 Ninth Bomber Aviation Regiment is placed under investigation. Commanders are replaced. Morale collapses. Because if one pilot could defect, who else might be thinking about it? And Kuzmin's brother? 2 weeks after the defection, Sergei Kuzmin disappears from his prison transport. Official Russian records list him as escaped during transfer. He surfaces 3 days later in Poland, requesting asylum. Reunited with his brother through Ukrainian intelligence channels. The operation was complete. Here's what this defection really proved. Russia spent billions developing the Su-34. They trained pilots for years. They built air bases. They established security protocols. They thought loyalty was guaranteed. One Ukrainian intelligence operation, 4 months of careful recruitment, and all that investment flew directly into enemy hands. The aircraft itself was valuable. The intelligence was priceless. But the psychological impact was something the Kremlin couldn't calculate. Because now, every time a Russian pilot takes off, commanders have to wonder, will this one come back?
Therefore, some details in the video are hypothetical. Our goal is to analyze military technology and warfare for educational and entertainment purposes. What you think about it, leave your comments below.